What are you doing? Don't do this.
John, incredible job on this film, man.
Joe, thank you, man.
Yeah, man, look, just like the adults in this film where they're reconnected with their ifs, I felt like I did the same thing with this film, reconnecting with my childhood. Did you have any favorite imaginary friends or enemies growing up? And how did working on this film bring out the inner child in you?
Wow, that's a great question. I gotta say, so I know I've been talking a lot about how I made the movie for my kids, but the truth is, halfway through the process, I went, oh my God, am I making this for me? Because the truth is, what you realize are these rules that we feel have been put upon us growing up are not actually really there, that it's really, we're putting it on ourselves. What I mean by that is, we can still be silly. We can still have these dreams and hopes and ambitions and use that in this real world as we grow up. The real world and the imaginative world can coexist. And that's what I learned going forward. But I did have an imaginary friend growing up named Sam Brace. Because when I was 8 years old, I wanted braces because I thought they were the coolest things ever. Turns out they're not, but it was for a second there. But I used to walk to the video store with Sam, and we used to be in action movies, comedy movies, horror movies. Before I even watched horror movies, we just ran away from werewolves. But you know what's funny is halfway through one of the interviews, I realized, oh my God, what if Sam directed this movie? That it wasn't me at all. That like through this process, my inner child came out so much that it was able to direct the movie for me. So I don't know, I give Sam a lot of credit.
Yeah, Sam deserves all the credit for this one. Now, look, Ryan is fantastic in this film as Cal. He really covers a range of emotions. And his physical comedy really reminds me a lot of Gene Wilder in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Can you talk about working with him to bring Cal to life?
Well, first of all, you nailed it. I think there's something about Ryan that I've gotten to know him as a friend. So not only is he one of the funniest people around, I've known that since, two guys are growing a pizza place. But I thought when you hang out with him, you get to see him as a father, as a husband, as a friend, and he's got this deep, deep well of heart and warmth. And I thought if I could capture a fraction of that and put it in this movie, how special would that be? And he gave me way more than I even dreamt of. But it's that thing, I think, that makes certain movies indelible. You know what I mean? Like the Gene Wilder character in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, it is this beauty of being able to be funny and incredibly heartfelt at the same time. It's pure magic, and he was able to pull that off here. I actually thought some of his, his comedy was very Dick Van Dyke. It was very old school. It was very throwback, some of the physical comedy he was doing, and I was just psyched to be in the front row for it.
Incredible. Now, when you were doing A Quiet Place, you were inspired by what a parent would do for their kids. What about parenthood inspired If and your character's dynamic with B?
It's a great question. I mean, the entire thing of this was inspired by my kids. I always wanted to do a movie for my kids, but I wasn't sure which path to take. I knew that imaginary friends would be a cool world to live in, but I didn't know how or what I wanted to do with it. And I used to watch my daughters go into this imaginative world, this magical world that we aren't invited into. But it wasn't until the pandemic that I found my into the movie because I saw their light starting to go out. I saw them doing fewer and fewer imaginative games. And they started to let the real world in, and they asked big questions like, are we gonna be okay? And I thought, hang on, this is the definition of growing up, that moment where you think you have to leave your childhood behind to become an adult, and it's not true. So I said, what if I write a movie that says that to my kids, that they know that that magical world they created will always be there for them? And that's what the movie is. And so as far as my relationship with B, man, those scenes were so special because I got to watch that girl work. I mean, she is not only one of the best performances I've ever seen, but she's also pulling off a magic trick because it's almost like she's not acting. She's living believably through these circumstances. And I gotta say, she is all of us in the audience. If you're a kid, she's the kid that you wanna be because she gets to dance on stage with all these ifs. And if you're an adult, she's the invite to go back to your childhood. She's having that conversation of should I or should I not grow up? And I feel like as adults, we should all be saying, should I or should I not grow up today? So it was just an amazing thing to watch her work.
Well, the film's incredible, John. Thank you so much for your time.
Oh, man, thank you.
I loved watching this. I appreciate you. Thank you so much, sir.
Oh, dude, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Don't look him in the eye.
Thanks for doing this. It really means a whole lot.